What's up, world? What's up, Zion? It's Prince Easy coming at you again, once more, as usual, this fine Saturday that we're having right now, right? So, as per usual, I do have a couple slides that I want to share with you, right? And before we get to them, I want to issue a disclaimer, right? A fair use disclaimer for the copywritten material that's going to be shown here in this here video, right, for purpose of criticism, education, and commentary. So, yeah, again, we're gonna try to catch up and have some sort of eagle's eye view of the whole ordeal, right? So, well, it's not really hard for you to know who the winner is. The winner is simply the one who has invested the most and brought the most benefit, plain and simple, because the race for minerals is like on. Let's just say that. Yeah, the pace is high and the momentum should be maintained. I don't know what this is about, but again, the race for minerals, not just minerals, but rather industrial raw material, right? That means processed minerals, to be precise. Yeah, again, trying to form a brocade. And below, this type of corruption is sickening, right? It shows that greed is a beast that can never be satisfied. Let's just say that, you know. Welcome home. Let's just say that. Yeah. And the plans are good, right? I listened to both of your speeches, and as usual, President Museveni's are always insightful. But for those who are not paying attention, then a lot of that will fly over their heads. Let's just say that. Yeah, I do believe that this is the next phase when it comes to how we handle power, right? A form of redundancy. Let's just say that, right? A form of redundancy in times of crisis or shortage. Then they be slowly and meticulously be upgraded to full power, you know. So the Pumas just came back. They were not brought back. Or climate change. Which one is it? Yeah, another math genius, as it's written, goes back home. Why? There's something good going on. Yeah. So the Iranians elected this and then proceeded to burn it. This is what the world is. This is the truth, right? And do never be naive to think that you have outgrown the truth, or you have fully discovered and understood the truth. Dangerous. Patience, keep your ears open. And the devil is a liar. Yeah. So she had remarks, and we're gonna circle back to this. So there's no such thing as Tanzania dumping the dollar. Me personally, I would like that. I would prefer that. But again, I am war, right? So again, this is just a propaganda, again, to target, right? So they have the, I don't know, for their, I don't know, operation for the, I don't know, combating of the de-dollarization that is going on right now, right? And believe me, they're gonna throw a fit, right? As some have speculated that most people who have attempted to not use the dollar have ended up dead, some, right? And as of recent, they have been launching personal attacks against Xi, right, the president of China. And the word that they use as a buzzword is military purge, right? You can enter that onto your YouTube, China military purge, and you'll hear the operatives speak. Again, like I said, all you have to do is listen. Yeah. For you, maybe this is unusual, but for brethren over there, the Black Americans, we have heard their stories, right? And this is not new, okay? So this guy is quite arrogant. There is no other word to use it, right? And he's one of those big warmongers and stuff, right? So for us people who are using the dollar to purchase, what does this mean? And what do you expect to come out of this? That's the most important question that follows after that. Right? Again, circling back to the same thing. Okay? So, again, this polarization, they're using the same tactic over there in Syria, right? This is the tension that the Muslim world, or rather the Arab world, right? There is no such thing as the Muslim world. The Arab world, you have to watch out for, especially the Muslim brethren, the Shia and the Sunni. They are planning to pit you against each other. well, he's legit standing on business, right? And he's not the only one, right? He's not the only one making these big moves and stuff, you know. But he's infamous for making the biggest risks. That's why he's successful. That's my opinion. That's the difference between him and many other billionaires, right, that choose to spend their money or rather invest in Africa. So these are the opinions coming from Russia, right? You can pause and read it for yourself. Of course, you need to know the history of this, right? Because I took my time to pry and find out what is the history pertaining to this issue. But it goes on so far back to the first contact between the Americans and the Chinese. That's how far it goes back. So what is it? It's like a pin on a grenade or something, you know, for the Chinese, right? This is what I keep saying, right, to these Caucasian brethren of ours. I tell them this. For instance, take any region that has war, right, and somehow, you know, have that power of Thanos, right, to snap your finger and to literally take the Europeans out of the equation. What would the world look like? If you answer this question honestly, right? If you answer this question honestly, then we're gonna get somewhere. But if not, then we have a very big problem in our hand. A very big problem in our hand. And that is, you're gonna repeat the mistakes that you have made because you have learned nothing. And that's the scary part of this whole ordeal, brothers and sisters. Right? They do actually believe, right? I was listening to one of Scott Ritter's rant, the infamous rants, and he was addressing the millennials and how they have been made, have basically been castrated, right? And they have fallen for the, I don't know, notion that it is actually possible to survive a thermal war or a modern day in 2026. Let me tell you something. I excuse their ignorance and I try to take that ignorance out of their minds, right? To give them proper perspective. Because I have interests in weaponry and what is new and how, and let me just say, it is bad. You do not want the so-called World War III. Even if a single thermonuclear war and not nuclear warhead not being fired, it will be bad. Okay, the people of today, the people of this century, they are not built for war. This tells me and shows me that these are all elder people that are perpetuating this, right? Like Scott Ritter said. It's an archaic mentality, right? The only killing this generation wants to do is in video games, full stop. They never want to translate that to actual murder or some, you know. But these people have, I don't know, tricked themselves to believe so. And through propaganda and movies and, you know. But especially propaganda with the bankers and, right? So he's standing on business and people are noticing, right? So again, big moves. Africa needs those at this particular moment. Big moves, right? To get people employed, to get this money circulating, right? Stop hoarding all the money, right? Do something with it. If you can't, then create an organization that will find people to do something with your money. Plain and simple. Like, what? Well, this here is a problem, right? Because this is very dear and near to my heart. The whole aspect of housing. And I don't know what this will do, right? But again, going back to Dangote, when he came to this country, what did he reveal? That it seems that this government is ignoring. How could he charge like that and provide such a high quality of a product, that they had to do whatever they had to do, right? As as we modern people say, nerf, right? Basically reduce the power. These are not good signs. This will slow down the movement. Yeah. This is the reality. So when, I don't know, the bad guy Russia comes out and says, you know, maybe these people are transpiring, you know, to sabotage African countries and take out leaders that they don't deem to be protecting their own country's interests. You know, this is how absurd and how crazy this whole ordeal is. This is what Macron is doing for the French people. Yeah. So you think the West and America can compete with China? This is not favor, okay? They scratch our back a lot, we scratch their back. Mutual. It's supposed to be simple, but you know, what do I know about economics? Yeah, this is the other side. You see the difference? It is easy to tell who is losing. And it's not about what I'm saying or what I'm predicting. No, it is clear to see. This is the second time in this whole video I done showed you the difference. The difference. So circling back to that lady with the opinion, this one, this lady here, this is what she got. And again, why is anti-Semitism rising? This is why. This is why. So we're just trying to establish MO, right? So at home, they're like this. Abroad, they're like that, the same way. But they started doing it abroad because at least back then they had fear of repercussions. But those repercussions seem to have disappeared all of a sudden. And now this genius here is now the new head of, I don't know, destabilizing, as they put it, leaders that do not protect, or rather are not ready to protect the interests of friends. Yeah.
I think it's actually probably one of the best descriptions of the heart that I've ever run across. They taught you the heart was just a glorified meat pump, that it squeezes and pushes blood like some crude mechanical device, a hydraulic engine made of flesh. That is what they want you to believe. Because if you buy into that primitive lie, you never ask deeper questions. But it is false. It has always been false. And the real science proves it. Dr. Francesco Torrenguas, a Spanish cardiac researcher, discovered what the textbooks refuse to acknowledge, that the heart is not a pump. He dissected thousands of hearts and found that the heart is a single continuous muscle band folded into a spiral. He proved that the heart works like a vortex generator, creating suction and torque, not pressure. He called it the helical ventricular myocardial band, and it changes everything. The real movement of the blood comes from pressure differentials, electromagnetic flow, and coherent resonance. The blood spirals naturally. It need not be forced through miles of arteries and capillaries. The so-called pump is not strong enough to push thick fluid through 60,000 miles of tubing. That is basic physics. That lie was dead on arrival. Here is the truth. Blood moves before the heart forms in the embryo. That is, by the way, a documented fact. It flows via frequency, resonance, and electric charge. The body is a field, not a factory. Heart creates a toroidal electromagnetic field that radiates 6 meters from the body. This field syncs with the earth, the sun, and every living being around you. It is a resonator, a tuner, a conductor. It aligns the rhythm of your cells. It feels, it remembers, it emits, and it responds to emotion, thought, light, sound, and breath. When you feel love, grief, fear, or peace, your heart transmits it. It is the central frequency modulator of your biology, not a pump. And the institutions know this. The Heart Math Institute has measured these fields for decades. They know the heart has more neuronal cells than parts of the brain. They know it is a second brain. They know coherence in the heart transforms the entire nervous system. So why are they still teaching children a 400-year-old guess from William Harvey that has never been updated?
Okay, the system is run through China, Israel, Ukraine, and us now. We didn't used to be as big a part, I think, but it...
Quite interesting bunch there, if you ask me. Quite an interesting bunch. Can you even imagine these three people?
Anyway, it's like you harvest the organs, and then you got to get rid of the rest. And that's what I think they are doing. It really is just Soylent Green in a different form. And anybody thinks this is just made up. We have videos, for example, in Ukraine of they call them the Chorny transplantologia. I can barely say that. I don't speak Russian. I just read it. But anyway, it's the black transplantologists. And they stumbled onto these things. I know Putin knows about this. The Russian army knows about this. They've underground harvesting areas. So, you know, young Ukrainian soldier is not quite dead yet, but they don't think he's going to survive. Boom. 2 kidneys, 2 lungs, a heart, a liver, and the rest goes into the food supply. That part I can't prove, but I'm going to tell you about I can prove about the kidneys and stuff like that. So you've got, you know, he's worth almost $1 million, you know, by the time, and you sell it, you're going to get more than $1 million for that because that price gets way bumped. Okay, the system is run through China.
I mean, how many Jews talk about the Holocaust and haven't got the faintest idea in the world what a Holocaust is? Oh, a Holocaust is a terrible tragedy. Oh, there's a big fire or something like that. It's terrible something. No. That's not what a Holocaust is. A Holocaust, according to the actual research documents, means a sacrificial, ritualistic burnt offering. When Abel and Cain and Abel in the Bible offered up a sacrifice to God, the word in the Hebrew Bible is they offered up their Holocaust to God. So a Holocaust is a ritualistic, sacrificial burnt offering. Get it right. Why did the Jewish leaders in this country and around the world use the term Holocaust? Very interesting. I think that they are not telling us the whole story. The Moors really are. Much of their history has been whitewashed by others and by themselves. A Moor is a very broad term. It is a group of groups. Not only were they whitewashed in the heart, they also whitewashed themselves. They were some of the first to breed with their slaves. They were the black Huguenots in France. They were obviously the Moors of Spain and Portugal, but also the Sephardim. They were the black British, who Marcus Garvey descended from, and they were the black Habsburgs of the Holy Roman Empire. It's important to remember that Rome is Edom. Japheth and Edom crossbred to make Rome. Here's the genealogy. And Edom, or Esau, was ruddy, just like King David. Ruddy means red-brown, or copper-colored. There was never really a fall of Granada. It was a transition into recessive Moorish rulership. The royalty was inbred so they could be more easily controlled. Even the Rothschilds are just recessive Moors controlled by their so-called black masters. And it wasn't just Europe, it was the Americas as well. They brought millions of these clones, or slaves, throughout the world. Millions. The biggest slave port was Charleston, known as the Jerusalem of American slavery. Charleston was named after King Charles, aka the Black Boy, the Moorish king. The 1670 Virginia Act prohibited Aboriginals from buying Christians. Christians were white slaves, being sold by Moors. Black nobility and the black popes get their origins from the Moors. The Black Dutch streamlined the slave trade. It is said most slavery was through Brazil and was conducted by Moorids, aka Moorish. That's why Jan Jansun was the founding father of New Amsterdam, aka New York. Moorish Europe worked together in Barbados, or Barbados, to displace American Aboriginals, commonly mislabeled slaves. In terms of modern Moorish rhetoric, most have to start with Noble Drew Ali. Ali was a quasi-Islamist, although this man was the one who built the original Canaanite temple in New Jersey. Ali claimed that black Americans were Moabites. Moab and Canaan are both inbred, so it's not a good look. Moabites are Shemites, but they are not Israelites. They're actually adversaries to the Israelites. Ali mysteriously died shortly after Claude Green Bay. Then Fard Muhammad pops up to start the Nation of Islam. Fard pushed the Yaqub theory, or the Jacob theory. This is against the Israelites, though the Moors were the ones mutating and crossbreeding with their slaves. Fard Muhammad ushered in Elijah Muhammad, who was also a PDF, and that's why Malcolm X is killed and replaced by Louis Farrakhan, born from a Sephardic Moorish father. In the 60s, people switched from the English spelling to the Dutch spelling of Moor, and the indigenous American concept became popularized. Look. Leaders like York pop up, not a good look. Tariq Bey becomes a big influence, and the Wachita Nation. Many claim to be from Lemuria or Amurah. Many claim to be from Calafia, the island of California. But California is Canaan, the land promised to the Israelites. The tribes of Israel, or Jacob, Yaqub, are patrilineal though. And Egypt is Mitzrayim. This whole Midwest and Mexico area all the way to Arizona is Hamite land. Missouri is Mitzrayim. So who are the mound builders? Many so-called black Americans are the offspring of black colonists and aboriginals. The Moors make up most of the shadow government of the earth. Their pale clones are just front office people.
I've seen this, I don't know, for now, let me call it a theory before. Okay, So, again, this is the internet, right? Ndio mjomba. Right? The problem is not finding the truth. That's the easy part. Right? It's literally to fingerprint, but not fingerprint, fingertips. But the truth of the matter is, we have a mixture of truth and lies, all bundled up together to look nice and, I don't know, presented to us in a beautiful, I don't know, those bowls that they put on presents and stuff. That's what we have, right? And discernment, right? You have to ask your creator for that, right? Since you can't know everything and everything is against you, so discernment, ask for that, right? So as you can distinguish and never lose sight, right? Because you can, right? You can lose sight, right? And do not think less of those people who have, right? They've just gone blind, right? So again, do not lose sight, right? Do not lose sight, right? And be able to discern exactly, you know, what you are experiencing and whatnot, right?
What is this shit? That stuff? Adrenochrome. Adrenochrome?
And they somehow figured out how to extract its foreskin from a Korean baby.
Yeah, they call it subliminal programming, right? This is their plan to get a grip, to get a handle on the apocalypse, right? The unveiling, right? So that is the next phase, right? Some sick stuff.
Bieber music video, Where Are You Now? I'm going to slow it down to show you frame for frame. Now, it's created by a lot of Justin Bieber's fans, a lot of artwork from fans, but I'd argue that some of them were created by Justin Bieber to strategically slip them in there to send a message. So this one is really disturbing. It's Justin Bieber with pizza wings, a pizza above his head, far upper right corner. You see his face smelling him, and his eyes are appearing kind of like bloodshot and crying with some devil horns. And if you don't know, in the Epstein files, pizza is used to reference children. Kill the poor, love the devil back, $5 to look at it. This one says false god. Here's another devil one with his mouth silenced. This one says put drugs in your butt, and it has like a little sinister face on the side, and he has a necklace with ice cream on it, a little tag. Ice cream literally means male. Yeah. Here's one that looks like he's giving some. Here's him with his head blown. If you're reading this, then it's already too late. Here's another one with the Illuminati symbol that says we made it. Hollywood with cavities and death. This one is with the devil saying the greatest trick I've ever did. Bush did 9/11. Here's one, two-way street, safety or fame. A bunch of dead people, his eyes bleeding, his face being completely silenced. Illuminati once again. Jesus Saves, Help, Ronald McDonald is killing our kids, Upside Down Crosses, More Illuminati, Stop Worshipping Me.
You said it. Anyway, that's enough of that. It's a weekend. Anyway, hear from me when you hear from me. Prince Easy signing up. Love you. Bye.